Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Monotooi, and this is the second time I've recorded this, but we are the coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays of PPL Division 2. If you guys don't know what PPL is, or PPL D2, please check out the description below. There will be a link to all of the other PPL coaches, as well as a link to the Pokemon Premier League Twitter and YouTube, where some videos are to be had, like power rankings and weekly recaps and all that. So, again, check those out if you haven't already, but this week, our opponent is Marrow, coach of the Cleveland Bros, and his team is relatively scary. Again, like I said, this all in my team builder, but team I didn't like when it was first drafted, and then looking at it more, I liked it more and more. So it was very difficult to see what he was going to bring. However, I definitely did not expect him to not bring Excadrill and Bundy T, because I thought they just ran through my team, or had a chance to run through my team, but he did not bring them, which was awesome, because no Excadrill means no hazard removal, and so Ferrothorn's rocks are going to be pretty big, because he does have the Weavile, and he does have everything else that is neutral to it. And again, have a whole team builder dedicated to my team. However, we are bringing our Mega Lopunny, our no attacking moves Whimsicott, our mixed defensive Ferrothorn with Leech Seed, Stealth Rock, and Protect. We have our Adamant Life Orb Kabutops, we have our physically defensive Zapdos, and we have our kind of speedy, physically defensive Jellicent. So, looking at his team, as I predicted, that Mega Slowbro is going to be a bit of an annoyance, because I don't have a ton to take it down. I need the Zapdos around, I need Whimsicott around, I need the, the Jellicent around. Potentially I can get a Toxic off on it with Mega Lopunny, potentially Encore it in with things with my Whimsicott. And Emboar is not a thing that I have switch-ins to, so that's going to be an issue as well. But without getting into any other details, let's just start up the match. It is a relatively good match, so I hope you guys enjoy. Ruby is going to lead with his Emboar, as I am actually going to lead with my Mega Lopunny. And I thought this was kind of scary at first, because, of course, Emboar can potentially take Fake Out plus Return and hit me super hard and hit anything on my team super hard, but he is afraid of the Fake Out high jump kick combination. Even if he is scarfed, I will be able to outspeed it after Mega Evolving. So he makes the safer play, just goes out into his Mega Slowbro, which is fine, because I will be able to gauge what type of defenses this thing is running, and judging by the Fake Out damage, I can determine that he's not fully physically defensive. Obviously, it didn't do a lot, but that's just because of Slowbro's natural bulk. It seems like he's either mixed defensive or he's just offensive. So that's good information to have. He is going to, of course, go for his Mega Evolution as I switch out into Jellicent, hoping to catch him on a Scald or even a Psyshock, but he goes for the Toxic, which is going to be a little bit annoying, because obviously this is made to wall this thing, and with the poison on it, it's going to be getting worn down over time. So that is just a little bit annoying for me, but here I predict him to switch out. Didn't want to go for the taunt, didn't want to reveal it yet because I didn't think he'd be staying in, so it would be useless. So I am just going to go for a Will-O-Wisp, catch the Florges on the switch in, which is pretty good, because if it does not have Aromatherapy, it will be stuck with a burn for the rest of the game. If it does have Aromatherapy, I will be able to force him to go for that at some point, get a free switch into something else at another time. So here, he's going to go out into his Emboar, which I thought was pretty interesting. I, of course, go for the taunt, trying to stop it from potentially aromatherapying or doing any other non-attacking move type thing. But his switch into Emboar is actually pretty scary. He was likely predicting my Ferrothorn to want to come in on the Florges, which does make total sense. Now, because I have not shown an item yet on this Jellicent, he is likely fearing the Wakanberry. So he's actually going to switch out back into his Florges as I predict the Wild Charge, and go out into my Ferrothorn, trying to get Iron Barb's Rocky Helmet damage off on it. However, he is just going to make the switch out into his Florges, which is great for me, because even if he has the HP Fire, I will be able to live it and set up my Stealth Rocks 100% guaranteed. So him likely not having HP Fire, or knowing that he can't kill me and didn't want to take a Gyro Ball, switches out into his Emboar as I get up my Rocks. Now, this is good for me, because Rocks are going to be there to stay, and they do pressure his team a bit. However, this is bad for me, because I don't have a switch into this. So, with my Jellicent weakened, he can just spam Flare Blitz. There's nothing that's not to a KO'd on my team by Flare Blitz, aside from Kabutops, which I don't want to switch in on Fighting Stab or a Wild Charge. So, I'm pretty much just forced to let my Jellicent go down here, there is a small chance that I can live, or at least I would have been able to live without the toxic damage, but Emboar is just way too strong and is easily able to KO me. So Jellicent, you'll be missed. However, because he doesn't have Excadrill, I don't need it to spin block, so it was a little bit less useful anyway. Now, here, thinking he's potentially Scarfed, I'm going to go out into my Kabutops and pull a double out into my Zapdos. And I switch out first, so I'm like, oh shit, he predicted this. He predicted my double, but no. He switches out second, meaning that because we both switched out on the same turn, and I switched out first, I am faster, meaning that he is not Choice Scarf, which is great to know, and I know he's not banded because the damage on Jellicent would have done a lot more. So, I do predict this switch perfectly, going out into my Zapdos and then make a Slowbro double, so I'm going to go for a free Volt Switch. He does have the Landorus, which is immune to it, but I didn't think he'd want to go out into that because I am physically defensive, and I can take any hit from it, even like an Adamant Stone Edge, and just hit him with an HP Ice, which I know is not something he wants to do. So I did just go right for the Volt Switch. It was entirely safe on my end, and I go out into my Kabutops. Now, I'm going to take 1 second to breathe, because I've been talking a while. Okay, thank you. I go for the Waterfall here. Now, I'm going to pause it real quick and explain why I went for Waterfall. I don't have Stone Edge on this Kabutops. If you watch my team builder, the only thing it hit harder than Waterfall was the Mega Slowbro, which would take it anyway, so I didn't bother. I was like, alright, let's go on Waterfall, Aqua Jet, SD, and Low Kick for the Snorlax. But, as you can see, I did go for the Waterfall. The roll was heavily in my favor to knock it out. I believe I had a 68% chance to kill with the Adamant Life Orb Waterfall, and even then, he would have died to burn. If he Synthesized, he would have lost a little bit of HP from it. So overall, Waterfall was my best play. He probably didn't want to switch into his Slowbro, because if I did go for Stone Edge there, he would have been 2 KO'd from where he was at, and he didn't want to risk that. So he decides to stay in with his Florges, hoping that he could potentially live. However, sorry, just burped. I do get a crit with the Waterfall, which again likely did not matter, but there was a small chance he could have lived that, so that is a little bit unfortunate for him. However, now that now that he has Switch Initiative, he does take this as an opportunity to go out and do his Slowbro, and because I am fearing him to want to go for the Slack Off, I just send out my Zapdos, which again can get a free Volt Switch on him, deal massive damage, get Initiative, but he goes for the Toxic, which is both good and bad because A, he's still unhealthy, like he's still around 50% of his HP, meaning that he is a little bit weaker to things like my Lopunny, things like my Zapdos like I mentioned earlier, but it's also bad because my Zapdos is poisoned and the longevity of this is also cut significantly. So here, again, just having a safe Volt Switch, I don't think he wants to go out into his Landorus. I go for the Volt Switch as his Snorlax comes in, and by judging by that damage, I'm thinking it's not Assault Vest, did a little bit too much. So the thing on my mind I'm thinking the most after I do not see leftovers on this turn is probably Chople Berry. However, Lopunny can actually still kill with Fake Out plus Low Kick, even with a Chople Berry, so I do just go out into that. Him predicting me to either go for a fighting move or just go for a Fake Out goes out into his Landorus, which is going to be able to take this Fake Out relatively well. However, judging by that damage, it looks like it is not a defensive variant, plus we see no leftovers, no Rocky Helmet. I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit more offensive. Here, I predict him to... This was kind of a risky play, going out into my Ferrothorn, because with a Lopunny in front of him, there was... Hi Kyle, I'm glad you're playing Rocket League and interrupting my recording. With my Zapdos in the back, I didn't think he'd want to go for a Superpower directly, because Zapdos gains me a lot of momentum. Also, even worst case scenario, he does go Superpower. His Florges is dead. I have checks to the Weavile. I don't have a ton of use for my Ferrothorn at this point. It got up its rocks, it can't touch the Mega Slowbro, it's probably going to Fire Blast anyway. Let's go out into my Ferrothorn, getting some Rocky Helmet, Iron Barbs damage off. And if I'm able to, if he goes for a move that I can live, such as U-Turn or Earthquake, if he goes for U-Turn, still getting damage off on it, and if he goes for EQ at Take 2, I can then get off a Leech Seed on something. So, I go out into my Ferrothorn, he does go for the EQ, which I'm able to take relatively well, because I do have a lot of physical defense investment, and he is going to go, pretty much he's forced to go out into his Emboar, which is both good and bad for me, because A, I have Protect on this, so I will be able to stall out this Emboar a little bit. However, it is also bad for me, because I don't have a switch into this. As I've mentioned earlier, it 2 KOs everything on my team, and that's just not good. If he predicts correctly as I go into my Zapdos and hits me with a head smash, I lose my Zapdos, which is crucial. So I'm going to go for the Protect. He shows Flare Blitz. I'm like, I believe he showed Superpower there. So I'm like, okay. Gonna go for Superpower again, go into Zapdos. And I go out into Zapdos. I'm like, alright, did I get this right? Did I get this right? Flare Blitz. Shit. So this is not good. At least I'm thinking it's not good because it's going to do a ton, but Zapdos actually takes that relatively well. And, of course, I am physically defensive, but this is still a reckless sorry. Just ate. This is still a reckless Emboar. So I figured that would actually do a little bit more. I guess I should have calced it. And, of course, the Head Smash was also dangerous, but we're able to tank that hit and get some Leech Seed back, even though the Toxic is going to bring us down to about half. I can now go for a Volt Switch and just knock this thing out, which is great, because Emboar was an enormous threat, and now it is gone. Once again, I apologize, but here, there's not much I can go into that doesn't bait in the Slowbro. I should have gone out into Whimsicott because he didn't know my set yet, and he would not have sent out the Slowbro to that, but I go out into my Mega Lopunny, because it threatens everything on his team aside from the Slowbro, and I go for a Fake Out, and I can't kill with a return from here. I should have Toxic because I knew he was going to slack off here. However, a totally fine play that I make instead is go out into my Whimsicott to get off an Encore and lock this thing in into slack off. So that's exactly what I do. I know he's going to have Fire Blast. He has to for my Ferrothorn, so he's probably going to want to go for that here, knowing he can take a hit as I Encore him into slack off, meaning that I get a free Substitute or a free Leech Seed, which is very good, because now this is going to be the beginning of the absolute annoyance that is this disgusting Whimsicott set that I have to thank Kyle for the idea of. So he's going to go out into his Weavile, as I believe I set up a Leech Seed here, of course after the pressure goes off, as yes, I am going to set up a Leech Seed. The reason I went for Leech Seed over Sub was pretty much in case he went out into Landers for whatever reason. Like, he didn't have a great switch into this if I were like an offensive Whimsicott, but if he did go out into Landorus as a potential sack or whatever, he could break my Sub with a U-turn if he was adamant. I just didn't want to risk that. So I'm going to go for the Leech Seed first and then the Sub, because even if he went for an Ice Shard there, it only would have done about 50 to 60%, meaning that I can Protect on the next turn, continuously get Leftovers and Leech Seed back, and bring myself still to a very good amount of HP. However, as you guys can see, he's going to go right for an Icicle Crash. It breaks my Sub, but again, because of the Leech Seed, because of the Leftovers, I'm going to remain at a very nice amount of HP near full. So here, I didn't want to go for the Sub now, or because if he Ice Sharded, I'd still be a little bit low, and I just didn't want to risk that, and I didn't want to go for the Protect, because if he switched out, I'd be giving something a free switch. So I'm going to go out into my Ferrothorn, which, because also, if he like, went for an Ice Shard that I predicted him to go for, I'd be able to take it, could take a low kick afterwards, set up another Leech Seed, wouldn't be able to kill me, and I'd be able to kill him. However, with this switch into Slowbro, I'm kind of forced to just sack this thing to a Fire Blast. I'm figuring he has it. It hits both my Ferrothorn and my Whimsicott very hard, and my Zapdos is a little bit too low to switch that in on anything, because even though I can take it, I'm then forced to Roost. If he's offensive, which I'm not entirely sure if he is yet, it will be able to kill me afterwards with the Scald. I could not risk it, so I figure, okay, Ferrothorn, you got up rocks, you did your job, they're not going away, thank you for your service, and goodbye. So I sack my Ferrothorn there to the Mega Slowbro's Fire Blast. However, I do have now a free switch out into my Zapdos, and this is the opportunity that I wanted to Roost, because there's no way he's staying in. Again, he needs this Slowbro so much for my Mega Lopunny and my Kabutops, because as soon as that's gone, his check to both of those is Landorus and Snorlax, which I have coverage for. So I'm going to go for the Roost here. He does send in the Landorus, possibly predicting my Volt Switch, but this was made to take a Stone Edge easily from the Landorus, no matter what item it is. So he's going to go for the Stone Edge. I apologize. I'm able to take it, and I can just knock him out with the HP Ice, but he has a Yachi Berry, which is very good prep on his part for HPI Zapdos, for Ice Punch on low... Sorry, once again, I apologize. Good prep on his part because HPI Zapdos, Ice Punch on Mega Lopunny. Makes a lot of sense for him to do that. Now, here, I do not want to take another Stone Edge. I need the Zapdos for that Slowbro, because I then depend on my Whimsicott encoring it into something like Slack Off. So I predict another Stone Edge, go out into my Mega Lopunny as he actually knockoffs, which is great for me because I can then fire off a return, and this Landorus has, once again, just like the Weavile earlier, only one more switch into Stealth Rock. So he's going to go out into his Slowbro to take this hit, which he can, because Mega Slowbro is ridiculously bulky, as I've mentioned earlier. Gonna go for the return, and it's gonna bring it to about 50%, which means he has to go for Slack Off here. He absolutely has to go for Slack Off, or my Zapdos kills it on the way in. My Kabutops could potentially 2-KO with Stone Edge, etc. If I go for another return, I'll be able to kill it. And I knew this thing's full moveset was probably Scald, and then Fire Blast, Toxic, and Slack Off, so I didn't think he had Psychic coverage, meaning that he couldn't no-KO me. Worst he could do was burn me. So, here, predicting him to not want to Fire Blast, I'm going to go out into Whimsicott to potentially Encore it in to whatever it wants to go for. If he wants to Toxic me, if he wants to go for a Water move, then that is fine. So, he is going to get the Toxic off on the Whimsicott, but I know he's going to be afraid of the Encore because I revealed that earlier, and he does not want to get locked in, take more Toxic damage, and then have to switch out afterwards. He's just going to hard switch out, which is exactly what he does. He's going to make the hard switch out into Landorus, and this is the part where I go for the sub here, which is a good play on my part, because, again, I predicted him to switch out. This is the part where, if I had an attacking move, I would go for it, but I have to rely on hitting a Leech Seed onto this thing, which is a little bit dangerous, because if I miss, then we're in a little bit of trouble. And, you know, that would be annoying, but also, well, I'm going to hit my Leech Seed, which is great, because it'll die on the next turn. Even if he U-turns, he'll die to Rocks. And I actually have a chance, a very good chance, to live a Jolly Earthquake from this thing. Not live, I have a very good chance to not have my sub broken by a Jolly Earthquake. However, he's going to get the roll and knock out my sub. He was actually an Adamant Landorus, so he had a very good chance to break my sub anyway, so not a big deal there. And as you can see, the Leech Seed is going to knock out the Lando T, and gives my Whimsicott another kill, which is great, because Lando T could have been annoying with Intimidate. If it had U-turn, could have been a little bit obnoxious, but it is gone. And now he is running out of Pokemon, which is really good, because that's how you win, by beating all of your opponent's Pokemon. So, again, I apologize. I do not want to stay in on this thing. I would like my Whimsicott, even if I could potentially live a hit. I want my Whimsicott for that Slowbro. It is poisoned. If he's going to be forced to Slack Off eventually, if it comes down to it, I can stall him out. But predicting the Ice move, more than likely an Ice Shard, but he actually goes for Icicle Crash, I go out into my Kabutops, and because of the weak armor, I do not have to take an Ice Shard on the following turn, because I will be able to outspeed this thing, and just knock him out with the Aqua Jet, which is great. He did have a safe switch in into Slowbro, but of course, with the Rock Sub, this Weavile did not have a switch in anyway, so that's really good for me. Now, he's going to send out his Snorlax, and I was a little confused by this at first, and I'm not entirely sure what he was going to do, but either way, he only has this and the Mega Slowbro left. My best play is to just go for Low Kick, get as much damage off on this thing as I can. He has the Chople Berry, which is very good prep on his part, because he's going to be able to live, but he goes for the Curse instead of knocking me out, which is good for me, because I can just click Waterfall and knock this thing out. If he switches out into Mega Slowbro, this thing is at a ridiculously low amount of HP, and I can kill it with pretty much anything else. So, again, I'm just going to go for that Waterfall, and the Snorlax is just going to drop. Now, it's not entirely over yet. I win 100%. How I win is not guaranteed. We know this thing's full moveset, probably does not have Calm Mind, probably has, like, Scald, Fire Blast, Slack Off, and Toxic, which is very good cover from my team. I just decided to Slack Off my Kabutops in order to get a free switch into Zapdos to kill this. However, I actually flinch him. And after this flinch, I think about it a little bit more. I'm like, you know what? He's pretty much forced to Slack Off here. He might think that I still want to sack this thing off. Let's go Whimsicott. Encore him into whatever he does so that I can win on the next turn. Or win gradually with a little bit higher differential, because if he attacked me there, I likely would have died to that plus poison, or if I didn't, I'd die to the next one, because 100% I was clicking Encore. However, he goes for Slack Off, which confirms me the 4-0, because I can now click Encore, lock him into Slack Off, go out into, set up a Leech Seed, go out in my Zapdos, and kill him. However, this part is going to take really long, and I did this the first time, and I ran out of breath, so I'm just going to let you guys enjoy, and I'm going to go stand over there and play with my phone. Have fun. Asthma. Alright. Ellie sent me a Snapchat. Let's see what it is. She's having a fun time with Michael. Not in that way. I mean, probably in that way, but not in this. So she's having a good life. A good time and all that. This isn't dead yet. Like this trophy? I won this. In real life. Oh, by the way, Ray, well here, before that happens, here, another trophy. Look how good I am at things. I'm so important. I guess I'll come back to this now, because I can breathe again. Man. I'm not kidding, my asthma actually, like, prevents me from talking that long, because felt like I was dying for a moment there. Anyway, Encore's gonna end, I'm like, alright, I'll just Volt Switch and kill him. But, nah, I'm just gonna live. Which, you know, I'm like, alright, I'll go out in a Mega Lopunny. If he slacks off, then I kill it with Return. So, I go out in a Mega Lopunny. And I'm like, alright, I can take any hit. He actually has Surf over Scald. Not 100% sure why. Maybe he calced something, was like Surf killed, Scald did not. But because he attacked me, that means Mega Lopunny is not going to get the kill, which makes this the first game all season that Mega Lopunny did not get a kill. It's gotten at least 2 in every other game. And actually, more interestingly, the knockoff earlier on my Lopunny with the Landorus was the first bit of damage that anything has done to my Lopunny all season. The only time it ever took damage was when I went for a substitute last week versus Jack. So, Ruby, the game did not go super well for you, but this was a very tense 4-0. Even though I was ahead, and I ended the game ahead, it was very tense up until the end. Like, he put me into position I had to sack my Ferrothorn. The Slowbro could have slugged me at any point. So, it was tough. And I congratulate you on the very triumphant battle, even though, again, I am the winner 4-0, which is a very good feeling. We continue to win, and we continue to win big against tough opponents, such as Ruby. And next week, we are going up against Raikwin of NPR, Nidoqueen Spark Rangers, so I hope you're looking forward to that. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you next week.